Welcome to Azubi Africa channel. Now in the second video, we're going to be diving deep into HTML and starting up by creating a basic HTML structure. Now in the previous video, we had a look at what the structure looks like, and we're going to use that same analogy to create our first HTML page. So without any further ado, let's get our hands dirty. Okay, so I'm going to be working from a basic notepad. And based on the structure, we're going to first define what type of doc type we are using here. So first, I'm going to say I'm using a doc type, and that is HTML, right? So this tells the browser what version of HTML it is rendering. And in this case, we're using HTML5. So in order for us to start using HTML, we first have to define the root element. And remember, in the previous video, we talked about opening and closing tags. So this is what we define as opening and closing tags. The first tag here is the opening HTML tag. And the second one here is the closing HTML tag, right? So this is the root element, which starts our HTML document. And this closing tag ends our HTML document, right? So we have elements within elements, right? So what are these elements that we can look at? We also have the head, and the head also has opening and closing tags. So we just define that. And let's give a bit of space within them so it's a bit more clear. Okay. Then we also have what we call the body tags. So the body tag holds everything within our HTML page. Well, majority of the website is contained within the body, right? Then we have our closing tags. So everything that our HTML website is going to contain is going to fall within this basic structure here, right? If we run this, we won't see anything because we don't have any content here in the moment. But every HTML structure is based on this principle, right? All right, so let's add some meat into our HTML and let's run it and see how it would look in the browser. Right, so within the head, we have what we call the title. Now, we look at the basic structure, we can see that everything starts at the beginning. But when we have things within something, right, I want to contain something within my head, I need to indent it. What do I mean by indenting? Indenting can be 4 spaces, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this just helps the browser to understand, or for us to also understand that this falls within the head tag, right? So this falls within the head tag. So that makes it a bit understandable. Then I want to say my first HTML. Lovely, right? Okay. So then we have what we call the body tags, and we can put other elements within these body tags. So just like we did with head, we put 4 spaces there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have what we call the header tags. So we have H1, which is the biggest heading, also has opening and closing tags. 1, 2, 3, 4. We also have H2, which is for the second heading. Then we also have paragraph tags as well. So this is the first heading. Second heading. And this is a paragraph. Which has some content. Right. So these are just some basic elements that we can put within our body. So let's view this in the browser. So how are we going to view this in the browser? First of all, I need to save my file. So I'm going to save it in a specific destination, and that is Azubi YouTube. I create a new folder and I save this as HTML1. Okay, so I want to save this as, now the first page or the home page of most HTML is normally labeled as index, right? So the normal naming convention for the first page, which we normally view when we go to our website, is normally named the index page, right? So we're going to follow that same convention and name this index.html. Now I'm going to save that. Right, so the next thing we have to do now is to trace this and run it in the browser and see what that looks like. So let's do that and see. Okay, so I have index within HTML1. Okay, so let's run this and see what this looks like within our browser. Voila, we have created our first HTML page, right? And this is rendered very beautifully within the browser. And we can see the different types we have here. Let me just pull this notepad right in, and then we can see what we are looking at. So we have the title, right? Which is right here. And as we can see, that falls very beautifully at the top of our browser, which is my first HTML. Then we created the headings, and we created the first heading, which was the H1, which you can see it looking beautiful right here. We can see the second heading right there, and then we can see what a paragraph looks like. So you can see that these elements or these tags give a form of structure to our website, right? Our HTML website. Thank you, and see you in the next video.